Hey there! Today we are going to look at one of my favorite things to look at. It's divisibility rules, and they will make your math life so much easier. I think they're a lot of fun because there's cool patterns. Anyhow, today we're going to answer the questions: what are divisibility rules? How can they help me? And how do I know which numbers will divide into another? Well, that's what those rules are all about. Let's get started. What's a divisibility rule? Well, it is a pattern that works to help us know whether or not a single digit number, or 10, will fit into a much bigger number without having to do a whole bunch of dividing. Like if I had a very large fraction that I needed to simplify, and I was wondering if 1,769 divides by 4, it would take a lot of hassle. I'd have to go get a calculator. If I know my divisibility rules, I don't have to mess with it. I can figure that out right off the bat. So, why does that matter? Well, it makes life easier. I can do more things in my head without having to go busting out paper, pencil, or calculators. And there are some that you probably already know, like, is a number divisible by 0? Nope, because no numbers are divisible by 0. You don't believe me? Go ask Siri. She'll tell you a long story about a cookie monster. If I have a pile of things and I try to divide them into 0, I just made it all disappear. It's not even a thing. You can't do it. So no numbers divide by 0. Is a number divisible by 1? Well, duh, yeah. Every number is divisible by 1. You know that. The third divisibility rule you probably already know too. And how do I know a number is divisible by 2? Well, the question is it even? Does it end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? Because if it's an even number, it divides by 2. So 0, nope. 1, definitely. 2, if it's even, it divides by 2. These are the really easy ones. Let's take a look at something that's a little more complicated but really useful. Is a number divisible by 3? Well, there's a cool trick for that. Let's take a couple of numbers. Here's the rule, and you might want to stop a second and copy this into your notebook. The rule is a number is divisible by 3 if the sum of its digits is divisible by 3. And that sounds really complicated. It's not. Let's look at the number 3,423. I need the sum of its digits. Okay, so 3 plus 4, plus 2 plus 3. That would give me the sum of the digits. There we go. So 3 plus 4 is 7, 7 plus 2 is 9, 9 plus 3 is 12. Okay, so there's the sum of the digits, it's 12. Can I divide 12 by 3? Yes, I can, I get 4. So if I can divide 12 by 3, I can divide 3,423 by 3. Let's look at the second one, 7,217. Well, let's find the sum of its digits. 7 plus 2 plus 1 plus 7. 7 plus 2 is 9, 9 plus 1 is 10, 10 plus 7 is 17. Can I divide 17 by 3? No. So that means I cannot divide 7,217 by 3. That's a pretty cool thing. The rule for 4 isn't real helpful for numbers that are under 100. You're just going to have to know your times tables for that. But if I'm working with big numbers, the rule is this. A number is divisible by 4 if its last two digits are divisible by 4. So if I'm looking at 732, well, 32 are the last two digits, right? Is 32 divisible by 4? Yes. So because 32 divides by 4, so does 732. Okay, let's take a look at 538. Well, the last two digits in 538 are, well, 38. So the question is, does 38 divide by 4? And the answer is not evenly. Nope, I would get 9 with the remainder of 2. So because 38 doesn't divide evenly by 4, neither does 538. Okay. All right, moving on to 5. 5 is easy. A number is divisible by 5 if the last digit is a 5 or a 0. So let's take a quick look at three numbers here. We have 35,460. Is it divisible by 5? Well, yeah, it is. Look, it ends in a 0. So that one does. In fact, I could even change this if I wanted to. Ta-da! There we go. And it's still divisible by 5. Why? Well, because it ends in a 5 now. Let's look at the second one, 4,890. Is this last digit here a 5 or a 0? It's a 0, and therefore it divides by 5. And then finally we have 16,012, with the last digit here being a 2. It's even, so it divides by 2, but does it divide by 5? Nope, it ends in a 2, not a 5 or a 0. So these two numbers are divisible by 5. This one, not so much. Oh, by the way, wait, there's more. The rule for 10 is even simpler. One question, does the number end in 0? So is 3,465 divisible by 10? No. But 4,890 is. So any number that ends in 0 is divisible by 10. Drop that in your notebook too. Alright, the rule for 6 is pretty straightforward too. A number is divisible by 6 if it's divisible by 2 and 3. Now notice I said it has to be divisible by 2, so that automatically eliminates every odd number. If it isn't even, it can't be divided by 6. So if we take a look at 6,219 here, we've got 6, 7, 8, 9 plus 9 is 18. Yes, this number is divisible by 3, but it ends in a 9. It's not even. So it divides by 3, but it does not divide by 2. That means it does not divide by 6. Let's take a look at this one. 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 plus 6 also equals 18. So we know this number divides by 3 because 18 divides by 3. If I take a look, it ends in 6. That makes it an even number. 2,736 divides by both 3 and 2. That means it divides by 6 as well. 7 gets a little squirrely. Is a number divisible by 7? Yeah, it's a long one. Obviously, you're going to want to stop and get all this jotted into your notebook. A number is divisible by 7 if you double the last digit and subtract it from the rest of the number, and you either get an answer of 0 or something gets divisible by 7, which sounds really complicated, but it's not that bad. Let's take a look. Here's 294. Okay, what's the last digit? Okay, well the last digit is 4, so I need to double that. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so there's my doubled last digit. Now I need to subtract it from the rest of the number. Well, the rest of the number is 29. So 29, take away 8, equals 21. Is 21 divisible by 7? Yes, it is. So that means I can divide 294 by 7. So yep, it divides by 7. Let's take a look at 308. Last digit's an 8. Okay, 8 times 2 is 16. 30 take away 16 is 14. Can I divide 14 by 7? Yep, that means I can divide 308 by 7 as well. Let's take a look at 392. Well, there's my last digit. Let's double it. 2 times 2 equals 4. And then 39, take away 4 is 35. Can I divide 35 by 7? Yep, that means I can divide 392 by 7. So it's not so bad, it just looks a little crazy. To be honest, 8 isn't particularly useful. Its rule is a number's divisible by 8 if its last 3 digits are divisible by 8. Well, 309, would be the last 3 digits of a number, and if I could do that in my head, I wouldn't be bothering with divisibility rules. So that's it. Put it in your notebook. I don't find it real useful. I'm not going to mess with examples for it, so we can move on to something that is more useful. The rule for 9 works just like the rule for 3. A number is divisible by 9 if the sum of its digits is divisible by 9. So we're going to do it the exact same way we did the 3. So if we take 3 plus 7 plus 9 plus 8, 3 plus 7 is 10, plus 9 is 19, plus 8 is 27. Can I divide 27 by 9? Yeah, 3 times 9 is 27. So that works. That means this works. This is divisible by 9. By the way, it's also divisible by a number that's divisible by 9 will always also be divisible by 3. The flip of that, if it isn't divisible by 3, it won't be divisible by 9. Might save you a little bit of work later. All right, let's take care of the second number, 6,522. Well, let's get the sum of our digits. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 2 is 13, plus 2 is 15. Can I divide 15 by 9? No, I can't. That means this is not divisible by 9. It's divisible by some other numbers. We know it can be divided by 3, because 15 divides by 3. We know it can be divided by 2, because it's even. And we know it can be divided by 6, because it divides by 2 and 3. So yeah, it's kind of cool that you can figure all of that out with just a little bit of thinking. So today we have answered the questions. What are divisibility rules? Divisibility rules are patterns that we have found in numbers that help us to know whether a single digit or 10 will divide into another larger number without having to do a whole bunch of math. How can they help me? Well, they save me from doing a whole bunch of math. I can figure things out fairly quickly, which will help me when I'm doing long division, when I'm simplifying fractions, and in other things as you get older. How do I know which numbers will divide into another? It's all those divisibility rules that we just took care of. The sooner you remember a lot of those, the sooner you can use them, and it will make your life simpler and easier, which is always my favorite. All right, guys, thanks for watching.